Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending where you're joining us from. Welcome here to the launch pad and our third live launch coverage out of four in just 18 hours today. Earlier today, we had a successful launch of Rocket Lab's Electron from New Zealand. Just a couple of hours ago, a successful launch of an Atlas V from the Space Coast. And now we're back at it again for a crewed launch with a Blue Origin New Shepard rocket carrying six more people over the Kármán line, becoming Blue Origin astronauts here today. But if it's your first time here, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the founder and host here at the Launchpad. Here at TLP, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow because we believe that space is better together. And as always, as we get started, take a moment, let us know in the chat where you're watching from. We'd love to welcome some of you here. And while you're doing so, take a moment, engage that like button, share out the broadcast, and let us know in the poll how many minutes of hold time do you think we're going to see today? Now, we're not going to include this first hold that we've already seen. We've had a 20-minute delay, so you can see the updated countdown timer here, T minus 43 minutes, 40 seconds, and counting until liftoff of today's new Shepard rocket. But that is based off of the updated T0 of 7:50 local time. 8:50 local time for liftoff from Corn Ranch in Texas. So we'll wait to see how many minutes of hold time do you think we're going to add to this. Let us know in the chat and in that poll there. It's great to have you all here. Blue Origin always making sure safety is first, but sometimes takes a little bit longer to make sure they're safe. They do have a few hour window that they can launch in, so they'll be continuing forward towards that launch. While we see everyone joining in through the cast, I'm going to run through what we know quickly about today's mission, then we'll welcome some of you in, and you can keep sending in your questions by taking us at the Launchpad in the chat. We'll be answering those questions as we count down to launch. Blue Origin should be getting underway here in about 12 minutes time, so we'll be patching them in and listening into Blue Origin mission control. But today we're watching a Blue Origin New Shepard rocket, the New Shepard 4 rocket, launched from Launch Site 1 at Corn Ranch in Texas. It's, of course, going on a suborbital trajectory. From launch to booster touchdown and capsule touchdown is just 10 minutes in time. The Blue Origin booster will land about 3.3 kilometers or 2 miles away from the launch site. There's no fairings on board because of the New Shepard capsule. This is the third flight for Blue Origin in 2022. The sixth flight Blue Origin has launched with people on board and will be the 22nd overall flight of any New Shepard in their history. They're going for their 23rd consecutive successful capsule landing after having some test flights in there as well. This will be the 8th launch and hopeful landing of New Shepard 4's booster, the Booster 4, and they'll be going for a launch. And I believe we're at 94 orbital launches so far this year, with 6 launches happening in 18 hours. Some of the numbers are getting mixed up, but we should be right around 94 for this year. For the sixth time in its 20-year history, though, Blue Origin will be launching humans across that Kármán line. On board today for the New Shepard crew will be Colby Cotton from Dude Perfect. And I'm going to probably say some of these names wrong, and I apologize. Mario Fiera, Vanessa O'Brien, Clint Kelly III, Sarah Sabri, and Steve Young will all strap into today's New Shepard capsule and launch on that suborbital trajectory. One of the biggest names on board today, of course, is Colby Cotton, co-founder of the Dude Perfect YouTube channel with over 57 million subscribers. He was selected as part of the Moondao crypto contest and site, and he has been chosen to fly through a contest on the Dude Perfect channel out of the guys on there on who would actually get to fill this seat. So we're very excited to see him get to fly, see a YouTuber going. On board are also a number of other participants. They'll run through all that once they actually get the stream started. But seeing lots of you getting underway, getting in the chat here. Great to have you all joining us. Let us know in the chat where you're watching from. Love to give you a welcome here in the chat. Just catching up on our chat here. Sorry. There we go. We've got Maryland. We've got Thailand, Florida. Lancaster, UK, Romania, and Eastern Europe. Great to have you here. We have Sri Lanka. Thank you for joining us. More Europe. Great to have you here. We got more Florida. Lots of people all over the world just tuning in. If you haven't yet, take a moment, let us know in the chat where you're watching from, and engage that like button. It really does help us out. And you can share out the broadcast as we count down T-minus 40 minutes and counting until targeted liftoff of New Shepard carrying 6 more people across the Kármán line. If you guys have questions, you can send those to us in the chat. Tag us at sign the launch pad. That'll flag those questions in the chat. It can be related to anything space or today's flight, and we'll be working on answering those. If you are hearing some rumbling, we are having a storm pass by the studio. So if we do have any dropout, we'll be back as fast as we can, but we should be good. We're all wired in for connection. But if you hear some loud rumbling or a dog barking, that's what's going on. To get all the YouTuber stuff out of the way, if you haven't yet, engage that subscribe button so you never miss another live launch coverage, space briefing, space news update, or exclusive one-on-one interview. You can take a moment while we wait for New Shepard to get underway and check out our shop. We have our back to school promo on. No student ID needed to verify, and no promo code needed. It's just 15% off everything for the next about 10 days on the TLP shop. You can get your Blue Origin schematic tee, your Artemis 1 gear, your Starship gear, all in time for the orbital flight test coming up at the end of the month. Global shipping is available. We're going to say our cutoff for Artemis 1 is just in a few days, so make sure you take a moment, check that site out, and get your order in there. It's a great way to help support us. If you'd like to help support us separately from the store, you can do so a couple ways: super chatting in your questions or hitting that join button to become a TLP member. Better yet, even head on over to our Patreon. You can get that to patreon.com/thelaunchpad. On there, YouTube doesn't take 30%. If you super chat or become a member on YouTube, they take 30% there. So we always try to be transparent where your funds are going, but all that goes into helping us upgrade our equipment, like some of the equipment we ordered yesterday for Artemis 1 to help bring us into 4, 5, 6K footage, as well as into 360 footage for Artemis 1. So we're excited to start sharing that for you guys. We're going to be covering Artemis 1 from 3 locations around the launch site, from the historic NASA press site, from the Apollo Center, and from over in Port Canaveral. So we hope you'll join us live for that. Most of the TLP teams flying into Florida, many for their first launches to see SLS as we begin this era of heading back to the lunar surface for the first time in 50 years. See a question coming in, Bravo Alpha. What is hashtag live comms and what does it do? So Bravo's talking about in our Discord. If you become a TLP member, there's some behind the scenes access you can get over on our Discord, but our Discord is open to the public. We'll drop the link in the chat if you guys want to join. Normally during live streams or pre and post live streams, we'll jump into live comms in an audio channel and just have kind of a pre or post show as we get ready or after a launch has happened. We also just hang out in there in general, or if you're a TLP member, a lot of time I'm in behind the scenes working on new shirt designs, video ideas, or stream prep, or lots of other things. We got a couple of really, really big announcements coming out in the next couple of weeks that we were even looking at more stuff this morning, and I just can't wait to actually be able to share everything that our team has been working on to come out to you. We can't say much more. Soon, though. Very, very soon. We're excited to be able to get that to you. But if you're in behind the scenes, you do get some early views of that, and we'll actually get early access to some of the things coming in the near future. So on our Discord, there's a bunch of sections, live, news, behind the scenes, all that. So take a moment, check it out. Link will be in the chat there. Alexis, do they have a cabin service with a stewardess and alcoholic beverages? It is 10 minutes from launch, 0G, and landing. So they have no time for that. They barely have enough time to look out the window while they experience 0G. But good question there. Aviation, how can you buy merch? Just head over launchpad.store or the link at the top of the chat. You can click on that. That'll load up the store and you can place an order through there. If you are just joining us, though, welcome here to the Launchpad. We are going to pull up Blue Origin as they have begun their live feed here. They should begin their live coverage in just a couple of minutes from now, but at this point, we are now just under T-minus 36 minutes and counting until liftoff of today's New Shepard rocket, and there is a live view of today's pad. The webcast will begin in just a couple of minutes from now, but New Shepard out at the pad ready to have its crew join it. We should have crew rollout from the astronaut village here very shortly. Just due to the size of the rocket and everything and how it's already fueled, it's a very quick time from rollout, load into the rocket, close the capsule, clear the pad, and go. Normally we see still a little bit of a delay, but at this point they will begin their commentary at T-minus 30, which is generally right when rollout begins. Gaming nerd, are you excited about going to space? Absolutely. I think it's I'm excited to see every launch, but also just the idea that many of us can now live in a world where we're not saying I dream of going to space, but if you really work hard for it, and really work for it. There is a actual possibility that you can do it, whether it's a new Shepard style flight, whether it's an orbital flight. We are entering this era of human exploration and living and working in space, and we're really excited to see that happen. And if you're not following me over on Twitter, you can follow us over on Twitter for the TLP one on there. We retweeted also where you can follow me, Astro_Aubert, on Twitter, where you can follow kind of my journey and journey to space. But did announce that I'm very excited to be doing an exciting project in a few years with worldview balloons, space balloons, and make sure you follow me on Twitter for more information on that. We'll be doing a whole video on that in the near future, but Stratosphere, here we come. So excited to share that journey with you guys as well. Blue Origin's getting all set up here. We'll be listening into Mission Control. You can continue sending in your questions throughout today's broadcast as we count down T-minus 34 minutes and counting until launch here today. Some great recaps of their previous flights, showing Jeff Bezos and their previous teams, Will Shatner. Really great to see, and hopefully we'll have another successful flight. If you haven't yet, take a moment, engage that like button, and share out the broadcast. It really does help us out. And subscribe so you never miss another live launch coverage, space news briefing, space news update, or exclusive one-on-one interview. This is our fourth launch of the day, third live stream of the day, and we have one more launch coming up in just under 10 hours from now. Falcon 9 launching a Korean lunar Pathfinder mission to the moon. And later today, we also have two briefings from NASA with the SpaceX Crew 5 teams as they count down to launch. So a very busy day, 6 streams today, 6 launches, 2 briefings, a busy day as we enter this next busy era of space exploration. But we are excited to see another New Shepard flight here, the third one. Let's listen in to Blue Origin Mission Control. Not sure why we're not getting audio here, but let's take a look. Should be having audio come through. Looks like we're not getting. So they are muted on their end. Uh, Blue Origin is muted. So we're gonna see how this goes. We're gonna just pair up our T0 clock here as well. Um, but as you can see, their crew already out at the pad, counting down towards today's flight over the next little bit of time here. Yeah, Blue Origin is, unless I went deaf all of a sudden. But no, Blue Origin is actually muted. Aviation, is Colby going to space? Yes, they are. Colby is heading up. Dude Perfect, the YouTuber, is heading to space here today. Really exciting to see. I've got their feed open also on a second thing, and we're not getting audio from them at all. So, let me know yeah, definitely muted. This is interesting. I wonder how long it's going to take them to notice uh they they're muted their entire stream. Something's wrong on their OBS end, but we are counting down 32 minutes and counting until liftoff. We're going to just adjust our countdown here to match up with theirs. Just take a second here for us to sync that. Just wanted to make sure we were getting that audio right, but we're seeing that little bit of an audio issue on their end, so we'll see what happens. But if you're just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad. We are counting down T-minus 31 minutes, 40 seconds, and counting until liftoff of 6 more Blue Origin astronauts above the Kármán line on a 10-minute mission from liftoff to touchdown. Excited to see that. Stratoblaster, thank you so much for that super chat. That's really appreciate that. Just because you are amazing. Love having you in the Discord. Really appreciate your support here. Rocket launches today. Space is hard, but live production is too. You would not believe how much goes into doing live productions. I know you do, Jay, but many other people There's a lot that goes into it, and it takes one button that you have to click right to get everything right, and if you don't, then nothing's right, and it causes a lot of issues. So there's still no go for audio. Blue Origin, maybe go tweet them saying, "Hey, Blue, you're muted." But at this point, they are they are muted. No audio for this point so far. We'll see what happens. It seems like that's starting to trend on Twitter. Uh, Hopefully they're better at launching rockets as we come down to T-minus 30 minutes, 30 seconds, and counting. They did have a little bit of a delay. We were originally targeting 8:30 local time for liftoff because of some overnight storms that went through. They did do a slight delay to today's launch plan, now targeting 8:50 local time, or just 30 minutes from now. And we'll wait to see. But if you guys have questions, you can send those to us in the chat by tagging us at the Launchpad. We'll be able to answer those live as we go through today's stream, counting down to liftoff from Launch Site 1 at Corn Ranch in Texas. That's where we'll be listening in and watching the launch from. Astronauts now already up on the pad, entering into the capsule, preparing for today's flight, we believe, based on what we were seeing there. So, very quickly moving towards that actual T0 and estimated time of liftoff. Can we tweet? Yeah, we can send. We'll send a tweet too. It looks like everybody's tweeting Blue. So oh, Blue Origin just tweeted, "We are aware of an audio issue on our live stream and are working to correct it." So they are working on it. They're aware. Uh, Somebody probably called them. Was so So they are working on that, and we'll hopefully be able to listen into some of those final countdowns as they go through. Normally, we would be hearing from Mission Control talking onto the ship as they do their comm checks with each astronaut on board, and then they normally have some messages from some of their previous astronauts that have flown, some kind of words of wisdom to enjoy the mission and their time, making sure they remember to look out the window. It's just 3 minutes of total zero G time, 10-minute total flight. So it happens very quickly. They always try to get a group photo. Sometimes people always try to look to the camera and get a photo or two with something they brought up. They each are allowed to bring a very small pouch with them with a few things on board to fly across that Kármán line. So we'll wait to see what occurs there. And Ferguson, you are right. A member of Do Perfect, Colby, is on board. Really exciting to see that. See a YouTuber heading up there into at least across the Kármán line today. Hope he has a great flight, and what a great way to reach out to other communities and people. Hopefully, a lot of the Do Perfect team will be tuning in today to see what this launch is like. Maybe they've never watched one before, so really awesome way of yeah, just sharing it with more people, going further with it. I was actually just looking at the Dude Perfect site. I'm really surprised that they are not live today with the launch. They don't have a live stream running. I kind of expected that they would have, but I'm sure they've been sharing out on social media how everything is going today and where people can watch the streams. So we wish them a good flight, and exciting to see more and more people um, being able to get across that Kármán line. Bradley, what's happening with the sound? Blue Origin's working on it. Right now they're having audio issues, not with the rocket, but with us. So they're not transmitting their audio through any of their streaming systems right now. So we're waiting to see if they will be able to resolve that and go from there. If you guys have questions, you can keep sending those in the chat by tagging us at the Launchpad. Really does help us out, and we'll be answering those questions live. Make sure you've engaged that like button, share out the broadcast as well. Really does help us out. Keeping in mind, we do have another launch coming up a little bit later today, so we hope you'll be back with us in just about 9.5 hours from now. We have the launch of a Falcon 9 Block 5 from Cape Canaveral, less than 12.5 hours after the last launch from Cape Canaveral. Just one pad over, Falcon 9 launching a Korean lunar Pathfinder mission to the moon. So we hope you'll be back to join us for that. We also have two NASA briefings coming up later in the day with the SpaceX Crew 5 teams as they count down to launch for the end of September. You're going to see pinned in the live chat as well. We got a link over to our shop. Take a moment, click on that. Check out our back to school promo. 15% off everything on the TLP shop. Global shipping available. No promo code, no student ID needed. So a great way to get your Artemis gear ahead of the Artemis 1 launch. We're going to guarantee arrival in the next, as long as you order in the next few days, to be able to have that for launch. I wouldn't say Elon's holding Starship back at all. I think Starship's got a lot of work to do, and so does SLS. And SLS is just ready to go after years of work. Starship 2 years ago didn't exist, and we're now seeing, there are points where they just have to take their time and work through things and go from there. Uh, they just did a refresh of their feed. Let's see if we get audio this time from them. Uh, Nothing yet. Maybe they should. Maybe they muted their mic. We'll have to wait and see. As we count down T minus 24 minutes, 30 seconds, and counting. How much thus gains these engines? So on board today, it's just one engine, nice simple engine. On the bottom of there, the new Shepard booster is a single BE3PM liquid fuel engine with the capability of providing 489 kilonewtons of thrust or 110,000 pounds of thrust at liftoff. The BE3 engine is liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen fuel. It was developed by Blue Origin in the early 2000s and is now used on the new Shepard booster there. No second stage or anything. The capsule will separate, keep floating a little bit higher. Booster touches down generally about 7 minutes into flight or so, and then the capsule at the 10-minute mark. So a very quick flight here today. Alfie, do we know how many G's the passengers feel on launch? That is, I want to say it wasn't a lot. They wanted to have a low impact. Obviously it's more than one because they're getting pushed up. I'd have to double check on that one. I don't have that one memorized. Sorry. Um, I want to say it's less than three. Um, G's for it. It's not a ton. They don't have to go through centrifuge training or anything ahead of these launches. And then they do get that total 3 minutes of weightlessness once they cross the Kármán line and have had booster separation. Um, the countdown. And there we go. Their stream's coming back up, and we have audio now from Blue Origin as we count down T minus 22 minutes, 15 seconds, and counting. Just waiting for their team to actually begin their commentary stream for the final countdown. Alessandra, thank you so much for that super chat there of the dancing game controller. Really do appreciate it there. Had a little bit of a buffer there, but we've got our audio back. We got video back. We're good to go for launch here today. If you haven't yet, take a moment, engage that like button, share out the broadcast. It really does help us out. And consider becoming a TLP member by hitting that join button so you can get behind the scenes access and early video access to some upcoming projects coming very soon. We're going to wait in for Blue Origin Mission Control to get underway, and then we'll patch in and listen into them as we count down T minus 21.5 minutes until launch. Right now, they're still playing a little bit of music. Flight crew is on board, ready to go as we count down the final minutes until flight. Launchpad 1 subtitles on stream. There should be the ability to do the automated captioning, I believe. We should have that on. If not, I will reach out to YouTube to see why that isn't. But I'll try to get that fixed for you. Thanks for, that's a good point. Rocket is very phallic. Yeah, that we hear that a lot. But if you'd like to have that very phallic rocket on a shirt, you can get that in the live chat. Link pinned above the chat. Let's listen back into Blue Origin mission control as we count down T-minus 20 minutes, 30 seconds to launch.
For joining us for New Shepard's 6th human flight. Apologize for some of the difficulties that we were working through earlier today in our webcast. We're at about T-minus 20 minutes until launch. Today's astronaut crew is secure in their seats, waiting to launch to space. There we see a closed hatch on RSS First Step. In just a moment, Capcom Laura Stiles will read a special message from our NS-21 astronaut crew to help send today's crew on their way.
There you can see that hatch now closed. Teams just doing their final clear outs. Then they will have pad clear ahead of today's flight. All 6 crew members strapped on board RSS First Step, ready to head up across that Kármán line in just under 20 minutes and be back down on Earth in less than 30. Waiting to hear those messages from the NS-21 crew. They'll do a comm check with each of the crew on board and then proceed through that. Hopefully we'll actually hear that and not have any audio issues. So we'll be waiting to hear through that. Again, if you guys have questions, you can keep sending those in the chat by tagging us at the launch pad. We'll be answering those live through today's flight.
Is short, the memory of this experience will last a lifetime. Relax and enjoy every moment of it. From astronaut Valiant Thor, Jason Robinson, you won't regret spending most of your time in zero-G looking out the window. And have fun. Astronaut Hamish Harding, enjoy every second of what will be an incredible visual experience and try to remember that special view from Earth from above the Kármán line. Astronaut Victor España, this was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. It has transformed the way I see things and pushed my limits. I hope your eyes photograph every second of this journey. Astronaut VV Victor Vescovo, look out the window. Get that image burned into your mind so that it can never leave. Look out the window. Astronaut Katya Echazareta, this is only the beginning. The rest of your journey awaits. Where will this experience take your life next? And lastly, we have a very special message for astronaut Clint from the Blue employees Greg Blinko, Matt Cosgrove, and Nick Greco. There are few people you cross paths with who will forever change the course of your life. Dr. Kelly is one of them. His support and his belief in us, a group of college students in Louisville, Kentucky, with a shared passion for space, allowed us to chase our dreams and knock on doors we may never have come across otherwise. Thank you, and Godspeed, Dr. Kelly.
Words of inspiration for our 6th human flight crew from past astronauts and from Blue Origin employees. Thank you, Laura Stiles, for that inspiring message. Blue's astronaut community is growing, and it's incredibly exciting to see them come together and support each other. Continuing in the tradition of past crews, and on behalf of Club for the Future, Blue Origin's nonprofit, today's crew made their own postcards to fly to space. These postcards give each astronaut the chance to share a few words of inspiration for the next generation. We've got some artists, some poets, and of course, true to form, a basketball trick shot. We've flown postcards from all 7 continents, and we invite all of you all to send us your postcards. We'll receive them in West Texas. We'll place them on the New Shepard rocket, fly them to space, bring them back down, stamp them, flown to space aboard New Shepard, and snail mail them back to you. Now, earlier in the show, we were discussing how we're coming to you live from our orbital launch site in Cape Canaveral, Florida, the home of our New Glenn rocket. It's also home to Allison Carone, who will join me here at the desk right after we watch this overview of the orbital launch site.
So really interesting to see Blue Origin shifting to using more of their Cape Canaveral facility. We'll be taking you live there while we're down there in Florida, at least from the outside, to give you some updated views on the construction at their facility as they continue to expand, working towards their New Glenn rocket, their orbital rocket that will hopefully be launching. And this is some new footage, seeing actually how far New Glenn is along. Really great to see that we may be able to see this New Glenn rocket in the near future. They've done a few testing campaigns over the last year, so we'll see how things continue. And just like that, we enter a hold at the T-minus 15-minute mark. This was expected to see minutes of holds at this time. This is generally because they haven't finished pad clear, that they'll hold at T-minus 15 minutes, and then they will resume that countdown once they have pad clear.
Welcome, Allison. Good to have you join us at the desk.
Thank you. This is really exciting.
So while we were getting some great shots of our progress at the orbital launch site, we did enter a brief hold. In the meantime, Allison, I'd love to learn a little bit about your job role here at Blue.
I'm the Director of Program Management for our launch facility development team, and I get to work with a great bunch of people designing, building, and testing our launch site.
It sounds like an exciting role. What is a day in the life like for you?
Well, like I said, there's a great many people who work on this, and we get to develop requirements, we get to work through designs, we get to be, on the cutting edge and work through problems every day.
So it's a little bit of everything. How did you find your path to Blue? What's your background?
So I'm mechanical engineering, graduated from the University of Central Florida here locally, and I worked for NASA on a few different projects, and I got to fly some payloads to space, just like we're doing on New Shepard.
That's an incredible achievement. And as the video clearly showed, lots happening in Florida. Tell us about the facility we're in right now.
So the orbital launch site is really two different complexes. We've got our manufacturing complex, which we're sitting in today, and that's where we bring metal in one side and rockets come out the other. So we build our first and second stage, we build our fairings, and then we transport those about 11 miles to our launch site.
Right, this is the New Glenn factory, and we were walking the floor a little earlier. There's just so much hardware.
It is like exhilarating to walk through here. I mean, just this morning when I walked through, it's packed with people, with parts, with assemblies, and the energy is really strong here.
So the New Glenn factory, the manufacturing complex, it's humming right now, so those rocket engine parts are coming out that side door. Where do they go from there?
So like I said, they come to the launch site. Each stage is transported individually, and we take those stages, we put them together in the integration facility, we put them on our transport erector, we go up the ramp, we mate to the pad, and then to the 20 ground systems that we have to support the rocket.
And that's an incredible amount of talent on your team to handle all of that. Now, if you're on the Space Coast, you can see the silhouette of Launch Complex 36. What are folks looking at when they're at the beach?
Yeah, like the beach is the best spot to see the site. You've got our two towers, our lightning towers. They're 574 feet tall. They protect the vehicle while the vehicle's out for its 8-hour stay, getting fueled and checked out before we launch.
Excellent. So I think we're going to have some footage here of that launch complex. So we'd love to see it.
Right. So here's the complex. You can see our stage demonstrator tank that we're actually proof loading right now. And this is the ramp that the vehicle will go up, and our lightning towers. Everything is massive here, and it's a great opportunity to be part of this team and work and develop this. So.
No, yeah, absolutely. I think the sense of scale, and we'll get back to that, is definitely impressive. We had a good shot there of the integration facility where we can host multiple New Glenn stages.
Yeah,
really,
that's right. We can put 3 in there.
And process them. But your team took a launch pad that had seen better days, storied days, historic days, and put a ton of work into it and had what we showed us today. Tell us a little bit about the historic Launch Complex 36.
Yeah, there's quite a legacy to live up to. We the Atlas program launched 145 missions from our site. So that included our first lunar landing, interplanetary missions to Mars and Jupiter. So we.
And these were all probes exploring the solar system, exploring the moon. And so it's a bit of the legacy that we're inheriting here at Launch Complex 36. A launch pad that was used to explore the solar system, and now New Glenn that will also be used to explore the solar system.
That's right.
Let's talk about that scale of New Glenn. It's a huge rocket.
It is. You don't get a sense for the scale until you're next to it,
Right.
and you're looking up at it. It's been a big honor for me to participate.
You feel a little dwarfed by comparison.
You do. You look up and it's like, how am I going to work on that?
But we've said that New Glenn will be the smallest orbital launch class vehicle that we build. How does your team handle, future upgrades and planning that in while also getting ready for that first launch?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that this is the beginning, right? So we kept that in mind when we developed the requirements, and we're ready for the next orbital vehicle that comes our way. So
that's excellent. Appreciate your team really leaning into it and doing the forward planning. As you look at 2022, you've got some impressive milestones this month and through the end of the year. What does that hold in store for your team, for this team here at Orbital Launch Site?
Yeah, so I say 2022 is the year for subsystem commissioning and integrated testing. We recently completed our upending system and checking that out. That's going to take our horizontal transporter and vehicle to a vertical launch position. We will complete our integrated testing near the end of the year with our simulators and testing out our ground systems. So we're filling our water tower right now to start our deluge testing. So it's rapid pace.
That's incredible. It sounds like there's no shortage of work and your team is incredibly talented. So while we were talking through that last segment, we did clear the hold. So we see our countdown clock now progressing at T-minus 14 minutes and 20 seconds and counting. So that's excellent news. Allison, thanks for keeping me company here at the desk, giving us a look into Blue's incredible future with New Glenn.
Thank you. This was really fun, and you have a pretty sweet gig, so I'll come back anytime.
Well, listen, you shared with us the story of New Glenn, the story of our orbital launch site. You have an open invitation. You did a fabulous job, and we look forward to seeing you here next time. In the meantime, we'll check out New Shepard while we stand by as this clock counts down.
And there you can see on your screen that crew access arm beginning to retract away from RSS first step. Crew on board, strapped in, the pad clearing, and them preparing for that rocket launch. We expected that hold to last only a few minutes as the crew cleared the pad and did final checkouts there before clearing away. And now 13 minutes, 20 seconds and counting until launch of 6 more Blue Origin suborbital astronauts across the Kármán line, including Colby Cotton, the YouTuber from Dude Perfect. If you haven't yet, take a moment, gauge that like button, share out the broadcast as we come down to launch, and also make sure you continue to send in your questions. You can tag us at the launch pad, and we will be answering those live. Is this a test vehicle, Jack says? No, it is not. This is the 6th crewed flight of New Shepard. 6 people strapped in on board on top that RSS first step. All have flown on the same capsule and same booster for all of these missions. Both are fully reusable. The total mission time lasts about 10 minutes, about 7 minutes for the booster to go up. They'll have separation. Booster will float to its apogee, come back down for a propulsive landing. The capsule will continue a little bit higher, have 3 minutes of 0G, and then descend back down. Now, based on past flights, do not expect onboard camera views during the flight. That video normally comes out within hours following the launch, but we do expect to have some live views of the rocket during its entire ascent and descent throughout the mission, as well as then video of both the landing of the booster and the capsule. Martin pointing out paid passengers are not real, so not all paid. Some of these astronauts were invited, and others actually won their seat. Colby Cotton was the one that won his seat through the Moondao contest, cryptocurrency contest. As we count down T-minus 11 minutes, 40 seconds, let's listen in to Blue Origin Mission Control.
Welcome to New Shepard 6th human flight. While we wait for this countdown clock to reach 0. Let's take a look at the first 5 crewed flights that we've launched in the last 12 months.
And we'll keep that on screen, but we'll be answering your guys' question as we continue through here. So I know a lot of people don't like them being called astronauts. I think there's levels. I think there's civilian astronaut, and then there's astronaut. I think there's also tourist astronaut. For it, they crossed the Kármán line, and now that the FAA has ended its astronaut program for the astronaut wings, each agency awards their own astronaut wings with their own guidelines, as long as it is across the Kármán line. So Blue Origin calls these people astronauts. We call them Blue Origin astronauts. So that is what we will refer to them as that is what their designation is. Do I agree, though, there could have been another term, space tourist or something? I definitely think there's a conversation there, and I think that'll get written through history as this becomes more and more frequent and reliable to see more everyday people, rich everyday people, or lucky everyday people head on to space. But without a doubt, there is a difference between those that train for years to be able to go up to space to do a job and do study and research and science, and that has to obviously be recognized. But Justin, do you think Elon will ride Crew Dragon someday? No, he'll ride Starship though. Elon's waiting for Starship. Pan Am Racer. How tall is New Shepard? New Shepard is 59 feet tall, or 18 meters, is a single-stage rocket that uses liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen, and it has had 20 successful landings so far in its history. This is New Shepard 22, where we're counting down for launch here today which is their 6th crewed flight. Sir Rokill, thanks so much for being a member for 11 months. Really do appreciate the support for that continued time, really helping us do what we do. Let's listen back into Mission Control.
And a dedicated payload flight in just under a year. This is what building the road to space looks like, step by step, ferociously, 25 astronauts and counting. Next up, the New Shepard Go Pole.
All stations, this is the flight director on Channel 1 and UHF voice for the Go Pole for terminal count and launch. Capsule.
Go.
Booster.
Go.
Ground.
Go.
Safety.
Go.
Capcom.
Go.
Engineering.
Go.
Copy all goes. This is the flight director. New Shepard is go for launch. Booster, commence the terminal count.
We'll go flight.
As you just heard, we are go for launch for our 6th human flight. The Titanium Feather crew, that's what they've named themselves, are a mere minutes from launching to space. So let's meet this crew. In seat number 1 is Sarah Sabri, the first Egyptian to fly to space. She's a mechanical and biomedical engineer and founder of Deep Space Initiative, a nonprofit increasing accessibility for space research. She's fluent in Arabic, French, and English, and her hope for this flight is to inspire the Egyptian people and motivate young Egyptians to pursue education. Mario Ferreira is in seat number 2. Mario will become the first person from Portugal to fly to space. He's an entrepreneur, investor, and president of Plurus Investment Group, which includes more than 40 companies spanning tourism, TV and radio, real estate, and renewable energy. He's a lifelong scuba diver and passionate adventurer who raced the world's most difficult car rally, the Dakar, in 2007. Dr. Clint Kelly is in seat number 3. Clint started the Autonomous Land Vehicle project many years ago at DARPA and is credited with starting the development of the technology base that led to today's driverless cars. He's also a lifelong adventurer. He and his wife have photographed wildlife on every continent, from the high Arctic to Antarctica. But that other special thing about Clint we heard earlier from Laura is he's been a mentor to 3 beloved engineers at Blue Origin, Greg Blinko, Matt Cosgrove, and Nick Greco, who all had a hand in today's launch in developing, designing, testing, and flying the New Shepard rocket. Clint provided financial support and mentorship to the Rocketry Club at the University of Louisville. One of them has said that there are few people you cross paths with who change the course of your life. Dr. Kelly is one of them, and we're so proud to have you on board. In seat number 4 is Kobe Cotton. Kobe is one of the 5 co-founders of the YouTube channel Dude Perfect, the most subscribed sports channel on YouTube with more than 57 million followers. Dude Perfect is best known for their trick shots and comedy videos. Kobe founded it with his college roommates and his brother Corey. All of the other dudes are on site today, cheering Kobe on. His seat was sponsored by MoonDAO, whose mission is to decentralize access to space exploration. Now, MoonDAO members voted to have Kobe represent them on this flight. But in order to get here, Kobe had to beat the other dudes, earn his stripes effectively, in an insane rocket battle launch competition held a few months ago.
The pad is clear. We are a go for launch.
Welcome to Rocket Battle 3, perhaps the greatest prize on the line in Dude Perfect history. Our rockets are huge, and the winner goes to space.
Let's go, baby! That's right, thanks to MoonDAO, the dude with the highest launch wins a trip to space on a Blue Origin rocket in an upcoming video.
It came down to the last launch. We have the altimeter reading. The person going to space, Kobe Cotton.
No way! No way!
What an exciting video. I think Kobe deserves a pound and a noggin, as today he'll get to go on the real thing. In seat 5, we have Steve Young. Steve is the former CEO of Young's Communications, the largest telecommunications contractor in the state of Florida. Steve led Young's from 1992 to 2021. He is an avid fisherman and serves as a committee member of the Space Coast Conservation Association. British-American explorer Vanessa O'Brien rounds out the crew in seat number 6. After this flight, she will become the first woman to complete the Explorer's Extreme Trifecta, a Guinness World Record. The trifecta means she will have reached Earth's highest point, Mount Everest, its deepest point, Challenger Deep, and crossed the Kármán line, the internationally recognized boundary of space. Truly amazing. Here she is there with NS-21 astronaut Victor Vescovo on an expedition a few years back down to Challenger Deep. A crew capsule full of extraordinary people about to go to space. As we said earlier, they've named themselves the Titanium Feather. Titanium is the 22nd element in the periodic table of elements. It's the 22nd launch of New Shepard, and we're in the 22nd launch of this new millennium. So it's an exciting time for the Titanium Feather, and we're looking forward to your launch. Okay, if you're just joining us, we're minutes away from our 6th human flight. Today's crew is sitting atop a live rocket, ready to go to space and back. And here's the New Shepard flight profile they're about to experience. So we see the New Shepard booster with the BE-3 engine at the bottom at T0. That BE-3 engine will ramp up and produce 110,000 pounds of thrust. Liftoff occurs slightly thereafter. Max Q occurs at about 55 seconds. That's the moment of maximum dynamic pressure. That BE-3 engine continues to boost the profile until main engine cutoff. That's when the BE-3 engine shuts off and the vehicle travels under inertia until separation, becoming 2 vehicles. The booster reaches apogee first, then starts to re-enter. The fins steer the booster back to the landing pad. The drag brakes deploy, cutting the speed of the vehicle in half for that BE-3 engine restart, and then coming in for a soft landing in the landing pad in the West Texas desert. Meanwhile, in the capsule, as it was much slower to re-enter due to its shape, the astronauts enjoyed minutes of microgravity and a view through some very large windows. As that crew capsule re-enters the atmosphere, the drogues deploy, the mains deploy shortly thereafter, and as that crew capsule comes in for a soft landing, the landing systems engage, measuring the height and firing the terminal decelerator system. Just above the ground, we see the poof of dust and touchdown. With 2 minutes to go, let's watch and listen as the New Shepard goes through its final checks and revs up for 6th human flight.
As we count down 1 minute, 50 seconds and counting, you can see that crew access arm fully retracting away. As always here at the launch pad, when we get under 2 minutes, we want to see in the chat from you guys at Go No Go for launch as we see New Shepard prepare to launch its 6th mission with 6 new Blue Origin astronauts on board. T minus 90
we
seconds.
See the access tower for the crew capsule has been pulled back. We've got a great shot there of the aft fins going through the motions. These fins help direct the vehicle on ascent and descent.
Final flap checks underway. T minus 60 seconds.
If you're looking closely at the bottom of your screen, the BE-3 engine is gimbaling. This is the primary control authority for the vehicle on ascent and descent, and of course critical for that soft landing on the landing pad.
Really hear that rocket coming alive. Final venting, T minus 30 seconds.
With just 30 seconds to go for today's launch, it's time to hand it off to Mission Control and launch this rocket.
T-minus 16 seconds, guidance internal.
15 seconds. Guidance is now internal.
T-minus
10.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Command engine start. 2, 1.
Shepard has cleared the tower and is heading to space. Godspeed, Titanium Feather. On the left-hand side of your screen, you can see that we are gaining speed as New Shepard gains altitude. We started at about 3,700 feet above median sea level, and that's where Launch Site 1 is located. There we've got a great shot of the BE-3 and, of course, of the booster looking down at West Texas.
And the first YouTuber, Dude Perfect, Colby Cotton, has launched along with 5 others. Now coming up to 1 minute into flight, already traveling over 530 miles per hour, passing 22,000 feet
We've hit
in
our
altitude.
next milestone, max Q, the point where aerodynamic stress on the vehicle is at its maximum, and that BE-3 engine gets to flex its muscles, throttling down to reduce those stresses.
Now coming up to 90 seconds in flight, passing already 55,000 feet in altitude, 1,000 miles an hour.
Our next milestone will be main engine cutoff, but in the meantime, the BE-3 is back to 110,000 pounds of thrust, powering New Shepard and its crew to space.
Two minutes into flight, coming up on 2,000 miles per hour, passing 125,000 feet in altitude. Coming up to Miko here shortly. Keep in mind, full flight, only 10 minutes long, 3 minutes of 0G. The booster will touch down in just 5 minutes from now. Be coming up to Miko here shortly. And there we have Miko.
It looks to have been a successful main engine cutoff with the vehicle traveling at more than 2,000 miles per hour and 200,000 feet of altitude. Our next milestone will be separation of the crew capsule and the booster for 0G. Capcom will momentarily cue the astronauts to unbuckle their harnesses after separation, and we'll be listening in. In the meantime, Sarah, Vanessa, Kobe, Mario, Clint, and Steve, welcome to space.
And there we go. We have that 0G alert on the screen. You can see the New Shepard's velocity starting to fall, as well as New Shepard's altitude. They're going to track the booster down to the surface. Some broken up comms there.
We're floating! Thank you. Now release arms. Thank you, everybody.
New Shepard has officially crossed the Kármán line, the international accepted line of space. They're now about halfway through their total time in 0G.
Yes! Check it out! Oh my God! Hey!
Now passing 4 minutes into the flight,
Sounds
the
like they're
booster
having
reaching
fun
its
up.
apogee at this time. 351,231 feet. That is Capsule's apogee. And New Shepard is now beginning its descent back to Earth. You can see they're picking up speed. They are now descending. They are now transitioning to booster tracking. Booster will touch down in just over 2.5 minutes from now. New Shepard still has about a minute of 0G left. Let's keep listening into the onboard comms as we await touchdown of both Booster and New Shepard.
One minute warning. 1 minute warning. 1 minute warning.
So that's their warning to get some last looks, last flips, and get back into their chairs. Now well under the Kármán line, beginning their descent back. Booster touchdown less than 2 minutes away. Capsule 4.5 minutes.
Congratulations to...
That alarm you're hearing is their warning of
Congratulations
snap
to all
in.
6 crew of the Titanium Feather. They just officially became astronauts with an apogee well over 100 kilometers, the internationally recognized boundary line of space. Both the crew capsule and booster are now descending. We saw the forward fins deploy there in the shot on your left as that rocket is now reaching its atmospheric pierce point, returning from space and entering the atmosphere. Those control surfaces that raise the center of pressure on the vehicle now have a little bit of air pressure to push against. That's the ring fin and the forward fin, and the booster will be reaching its maximum re-entry velocity here just under Mach 4.
Booster will be on the ground in less than a
Starting to slow
minute.
down here now. The wedge fins, the steering fins, and the ring fin all working together, earning their keep to guide this booster home.
Drag brake deploy.
And there's that passive downward stability with the center of mass and center of pressure having inverted relationships now. Great close-up of the
Sonic
B3 engine.
booms. Engine startup any second now. Engine startup.
There it is, engine ignition, engine relay coming in for a landing. Booster touchdown. Welcome back to Earth, New Shepard. For a lot of us at Blue, this moment in flight is one of our proudest moments, really showcasing what the BE-3 engine and the New Shepard booster are capable of. Really just incredible engineering. No matter how many times we've seen this happen, it just never gets old. It's a live booster landing, nice and softly onto that landing pad. You can't help but want for this to happen.
Now that was a landing. We have not seen one that far
Of course, we
off
see
the
there at the
pad
bottom
slide
of the
back.
BE-3 engine, we're venting any excess propellants. This is a key step in the reusability of this booster. We'll be able to purge with inert fluids and keep this booster clean. There we've got a great shot of the crew capsule coming back down. Again, it's gumdrop shape, a little slower to re-enter Earth's atmosphere. We should have the drogues here shortly. There they are. Drogue chutes are out. I count 3. And those drogue chutes have now pulled out the main chutes that will begin to fill with atmosphere to further stabilize the booster. If you're just joining us, this is our 6th human flight. The booster has landed, and our crew, Titanium Feather, is on its way back to Earth.
Descending under 2,000 feet. 9 minutes into flight.
Our poor families.
Now you're going to see a large puff under the capsule right when it lands. This is to give a cushion for landing.
Nothing quite like living in the moment. What a beautiful shot there of the booster, and the crew capsule looks to be maybe a little south or southwest of the landing pad, and of course that great West Texas backdrop.
Now under that 1,000 feet mark. About 20, 25 seconds left in flight.
So as we come in here softly for a landing, those landing systems will engage, measuring the height above the ground to fire that innovative retro thrust system that kicks up the dust but makes for a very soft landing.
$100 feet, 50 feet, 25 feet. There's that
Touchdown,
puff.
Titanium Feather. Welcome back to Earth. And what a shot of Victoria Canyon, the Sierra Diablos, and our West Texas desert kicking up that poof of dust. I bet they're excited in there. They sounded excited.
Blue
Now our
Origin.
team is preparing.
Blue Origin has successfully launched 6 more people above the Kármán line. Now their recovery teams will race to the capsule to ensure safety of it and prepare for the crew to exit in just a couple of minutes. But a 6th booster and capsule flight now in the books for Blue Origin.
Just joining us for the 6th human flight. We've just had a successful flight. There's a shot of the capsule, the booster. It's been an exciting day for this crew that's named themselves the Titanium Feather. And the crew of NS-22 has landed safely, awaiting the CC Recoveries team in arrival. If we look closely through those very large windows, we should see some thumbs up, some clapping.
And if you're just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad. You're looking at live views of Corn Ranch in Texas, where Blue Origin has successfully launched 6 more people over the Kármán line. If you haven't yet, take a moment, engage that subscribe button to never miss another live launch coverage, space news updates, space exclusive one-on-one interview, or space briefing. We're going to continue listening in here, but now just 12 minutes since launch, 6 more people across the Kármán line. I saw a question in the chat. You can keep sending in your questions by tagging us at the launch pad. But how much is it to go? The estimated costs are $250,000 to $300,000 is their targeted price per person. But we do know the first person paid $28 million to go. So we're still do not have an exact number, but Blue Origin applications are open, so you can contact them and they will work with you to find a flight that works for you.
For crew member 7, we celebrate a lot, hugging and congratulating each other to finally become an astronaut. It was great dream come true, but in fact, my brain took a while to understand what had happened.
And now that you've been through this experience, what's it like to watch this launch? Do you wish you had been back there?
Oh my God, I can't imagine what they must be feeling right now. I'm very, very emotional, by the way, and it was one of the most amazing days of my life.
Absolutely. And you were looking forward to hugging your friends and family members that had gone out all the way to West Texas with you for that launch. What was that reunion like?
Yeah, we celebrating a lot because it's just we were just realize our big dreams to become an astronaut, to go to space and see these incredible things that was seated the Earth above Carmeline. It was amazing. The city curvature of the Earth, and we celebrate a lot with my wife, Marcela, and my friends. It was really amazing.
Well, it's great that Marcela was able to join you out in the desert. How was that? How long did it take for this experience to sink in, for you to really understand what had happened?
I don't think so. My life has completely changed after that, and it has transformed the way I see things and push my limits. You know, and I really I want to go again.
Absolutely, Victor. And on that note, look, we see the crew member 7 getting close there. So I think it's time. Agora podemos dar as boas-vindas e receber no clube no mais recente astronauta de língua portuguesa, certo?
Certo. I will send a message in Portuguese right now. Parabéns, Mário. Muito feliz por ter mais uma pessoa da nossa língua, representando a nossa língua lá em cima. Eu sei que várias pessoas se sentem representadas por você, e esse é um passo histórico, um passo muito importante, e sei que vários brasileiros estão celebrando junto com você, vários portugueses e vários outros países da nossa língua, e nós estamos realmente orgulhosos por você, e eu mal posso esperar para encontrar pessoalmente com você para a gente falar sobre essa incrível experiência. Parabéns, muito orgulhosos por você aqui no Brasil.
Parabéns, Mario. Parabéns, Victor. Obrigado. It's been such a pleasure to have you here, Victor. Thank you for sharing your perspective with us. As we can see there, this is an important moment for the astronauts, as you were explaining, so we're going to tune into that action. Thank you for joining us. Obrigado.
I want to say thanks again for Blue Origin and CSA for making this possible. I'm saying thank you.
Thank you, Victor. And there we have our ground crew performing the final safing operations, grounding the vehicle from any static discharge and preparing those stairs so that that hatch can be opened and we can welcome the crew of Titanium Feather. We've got friends, family waving. This is a moment, a much anticipated moment of reunion, of joy, of emotion, and I'm so happy that we're here to share it with you all today. Sarah Knight's crew member 7 in the field leading our operations, laughing, and look at that. It looks like a fun time. I wish I was out there. These are the final moments of preparation for the reusable spaceship RSS First Step that had already gone to space 7 times. Today makes 8. This is an incredible reusable vehicle that will help us practice. and dramatically reduce the cost of access to space. Just a few moments now here, we will also have a field camera, so we might be able to hear from our newly minted astronauts at the Titanium Feather. Let's stand by for that. "25 astronauts today become 31. It's the first step in building a road to space. A successful 6th human flight for us. What an exciting day." It's hard to imagine this moment of anticipation for the friends and family members that just saw their crew and their family and friends go to space in the Titanium Feather crew. Much awaited reunion coming here shortly. All right, it looks like our hatch has opened. That moment of reunion is happening now. Vanessa became the first woman to complete the Explorer's Extreme Trifecta. Steve has a new perspective on conservation, which he'll share with the world. Kobe, you just nailed the biggest trick shot of your career. We've seen it there. I, watch your videos with my 12-year-old nephew, Jake, and this is the coolest trick shot. Dr. Clint Kelly, thank you for your mentorship. This has been a great adventure. As an engineer and a technologist, thanks for paving the way. Mario, obrigado. You just became the first person from Portugal to fly to space, making your entire nation proud, and following, of course, in Magellan's footsteps of exploring new frontiers. And Sarah, you've made history as the first Egyptian to fly to space and the second citizen astronaut for Space for Humanity. Let's see if we can't continue this action and maybe get a few words from the crew.
And if you're just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad. You're looking at live views as the 6 Blue Origin's newest suborbital astronauts are greeted by their friends and family back in the Corn Ranch of Texas. 24 minutes ago, they lifted off from launch site 1, had a 10-minute flight, touchdown where you can see the capsule now, and you can see them outside the capsule at this time, continuing to be greeted there. Looks like we're not getting any of the local cameras that are actually there to be able to hear any of the crew. Blue Origin having some interesting streaming situations and setups today. Not nearly as smooth as they have before, but still great to see some very happy people having had that experience of being over the Kármán line, experiencing zero gravity for 3 minutes, and getting to experience that overview perspective. Devil's Down, what's the ticket price? Their goal is to get it to 250 to 300,000 US dollars a person. We know the first person on the first flight paid 28 million, so we're somewhere in between there at this time. If you guys have questions, you can send those in the chat by taking us at the launch pad. We'll work on answering those.
We have one
for the
more
next little bit.
announcement. Speaking of increasing access to space, here's Katia Echacerreta, who flew on New Shepard just a few months ago, becoming the first Mexican-born woman, proud Tapatía, and youngest American to fly to space, with a special announcement for us.
Are you ready to become Space for Humanity's next citizen astronaut? If so, then you're in luck because Space for Humanity applications are open right now. Are you ready to head to space for Earth? ¿Estás listo para ir hacia el espacio para la Tierra?
Enhorabuena, Katia. Gracias por la invitación. Absolutamente llenaremos esa solicitud. Thank you, Katia, for that invitation to apply. Simply go to their website. The world needs more people like Sarah, like Katia, like you, to be role models for folks everywhere across the world. So please go to their website and apply to become an astronaut.
Dude Perfect does have their film crew there on site as well as Blue Origin. So will be lots of video, I'm sure, to come from this on their reactions in the near future. Just rewind a little bit, Devil's Den. We did go over that. If you guys have questions, keep sending those in the chat by tagging us at the launch pad, and we'll be answering those live. Yeah, number of Rivians out there. That is the vehicle that they use. Keep in mind, this is Blue Origin's first vehicle out of 2. This is their new Shepard rocket. They will be launching their New Glenn rocket in the near future. They showed some videos inside their New Glenn launch facility at Cape Canaveral, Florida, just prior to the launch. Kind of some overview shots of the operations. This is one thing that's really unique about the Blue Origin facility being their own range and launch complex, and just the size of their rocket. They're able to do a lot of drone operations for launch, for landing, and even for post-landing, where Florida and Cape Canaveral, unfortunately, are a lot more restricted due to the scale of the rocket, but also that it's a private range. We're not able to get these type of shots with Falcon. If you haven't yet, though, take a moment, engage that like button, and subscribe so you never miss another live launch coverage, space briefing, space news update, exclusive one-on-one interview. Follow us over on Twitter so you never miss space news as it happens. And you can join us over on our Discord, where we'll be
another
hanging out for a
beautiful
post-show.
launch and landing. Another 6 people have gotten a brand new perspective of planet Earth. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today for Blue Origin's 6th human flight. Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Allison, for sharing your insights on our orbital launch site. And a special thank you to our customers, Sarah Sabry, Vanessa O'Brien, Kobe Cotton, Mario Ferreira, Dr. Clint Kelly, and Steve Young. If you're interested in purchasing your seat on a future rocket ride to space and back, get started by visiting blueorigin.com and clicking Fly to Space. The road to space is being built. We took another big step today, and if you're interested in joining our extraordinary team, please visit our website. Finally, if you'd like to commemorate today's launch, we have mission patches and so much more. My name is Eddie Seifert. For everybody here at Blue Origin, thank you for joining us. Until next time, Gerdatum for Oster.
There we go. Another Blue Origin New Shepard flight complete. NS-22 in the history books. They'll do a launch replay here. Now 29 minutes since we saw that launch. Some video footage of the rollout that we didn't actually get to see because they went live a little bit later. We used to get to see all of these, but a little bit of some later footage of the crew arriving at the pad and another successful flight in the books. Keep in mind, we got our back to school promo, so if you want to get your Artemis 1 year prior to the launch, you got a few days left to order. Get 15% off everything over in our shop. The link's there in the description and in the chat, and ping to the top of the chat. Join us over on Discord. The link will be in the description, in the chat as well, and the description, where you can join an awesome space community. Follow us over on Twitter. And if you want to help support what we do, consider hitting that join button or heading on over to Patreon, where Patreon doesn't take 30% like YouTube, and help us to bring you the best possible coverage of everything space from around the world. We're expanding our team not only in North America, but internationally as well, to bring you coverage of everything space, every launch, every landing, every test, and everything in between. And we're glad to have you here. But for now, here at the Launchpad, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, because we believe that space is better together. My name's Zach. This is TLP. And we're signing off from Launchpad Network Studios. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.